Machine gun.
That's
there,
fun.
You enjoyed that too much.
I did enjoy that. All right. Give everybody a minute to get seated. We'll go ahead and, are we on? All right. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. I have asked Nina to give us the prayer and pledge tonight. So join us.
Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight, Lord, and we lay our city before you at your feet. And Lord, I just ask that you use every councilman and the mayor and everyone in this room, all the department heads, Lord, to do what's best for the city and what's best for you too. We ask all this in your precious holy name. Amen.
Yeah.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. We go ahead and have roll call, please.
Terry Lamar.
Here.
Choya Shropshire.
Here.
Dennis Nance.
Here.
Travis Miller.
Here.
Randy Chitwood. Charles Trammell.
Here.
Chris Gonthier.
Here.
Bruce Smith.
Here.
Okay. Petitions from the audience. We have two. I only see one here. Is Connie here tonight? No. Okay. Brian? Brian Doyle? That's right. If you'll approach, and the next couple minutes are yours.
Yes, sir. Is it 2 or 5? Let me
5.
honor you guys. Okay. I'm a little long-winded. I'm here. One of the city councilors asked me to come tonight, or I would not have presumed to have come before you guys. Here to talk about the Narcon and fentanyl testing strips machine. Just to say briefly, I've made some investment in time and money in recovery that I won't go into the details of, but suffice to say my time and revenue have been invested in it. I want addicts to recover. I want them to have a full life, want the best for them. We do want this machine, if we can get it. We do want it. But there's a caveat. We want it because we're pro-life. We want to save any life we can, any way we can. We want to save that life. But if I just be blunt with you guys, and I think I can get away with it here, and if I get hauled out, I'll smile at the cops. I don't think they. No, Jesus gave his life to help us, but he gave his life to draw us into the Father's authority and to save us, to help us, and to be blunt and short. There's no recovery without accountability. So we want this machine, but it needs to be at a place like a police station, fire station, mental health facility, recovery ministry, medical facility, or not at all. There is no recovery without accountability. I used to run a men's recovery house. I have walked down this road. There's others who walked it farther than me, but some of my real estate right now is even being used for recovery as we speak. There's a link on a Facebook page, Living in Pryor Creek, that shows that several of these machines are already being used at police stations. We need these machines, but there's rumors going around that they can't be used at a medical facility, mental health care facility, recovery ministry, something like that. But actually, the link shows they're already being used at several police stations. I believe Skytook was one of them. We pray for life for addicts. We love addicts. And because of our prayers, our love, and our desire to see them succeed and live the full life the Lord has for them, that's why we must have this machine at a place where there's accountability, not a place that there is no accountability. Addiction will not be defeated without accountability. There are several other ways to look at this, but that's how it lays on my heart. My time's probably up.
You're good.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Appreciate those in this room that I know also give their heart and their lives and their money to trying to help with this situation. Even if they see it different than me, I know the Lord honors what we're doing for him.
Thank you. Okay. So yeah, just a little reminder, petition from the audience, it's a good example of use of the time, is 5 minutes for the community to petition the council, to speak to us, to share your thoughts. The way that typically works is if you want to be on the agenda for that, you call in before the meeting. We'll get you on the list. I have a list right here that was handed to me earlier from Jay, the people that had requested. So don't typically tell anybody that they can't, but we just, that's a time for us to listen and not to speak, and for you to speak and us to hear what you have to say. So thank you, Brian. And again, one more, is Connie here yet? If not, we'll go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items that we would like to have pulled besides B, E, and K? Those have already been requested to be pulled.
H.
H, okay. Anything further? All right. Do I have a motion to approve A, C, D, F, G, I, and J?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion from Choya and a second from Gonthier. Call for the vote.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Chitwood, no, gone. Trammell,
Yes.
Gonthier,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
All right, item B, approve the minutes of the September 12th, 2023 special council meeting.
So move.
I have a motion from Gonthier,
Second.
second from Choya. Discussion? Okay, call for the vote.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gonthier,
Abstain.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
All right. Item E, approve signing a memorandum of understanding with Oklahoma Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services to provide Pryor with a vending machine stocked with free Narcan, Noxolone, and fentanyl test strips. The vending machine will be located at the north entrance of the Thomas J. Harrison Pryor Public Library. Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Motion from Trammell,
Second.
second from Gonthier. Discussion?
Well, I'll open it up. I think we discussed this ad nauseum last time, and I don't think we need to rehash everything. Again, I'm gonna take the position of Mr. Doyle, hit it right on the head. I think the vending machine is value added to help drug addicts, or drug addiction, or whatever you wanna call it, but not at the city library, and definitely not even on any city property. The city doesn't need to be involved in this. They have entered into agreements with Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. I actually went onto the Oklahoma Department of Mental Health website last Wednesday just to see what they had to say about it, and lo and behold, there was a button. Said, get your Narcan and fentanyl test strips here. And I clicked on that button, and I ordered me some Narcan and fentanyl test strips that would be delivered straight to my house, free of charge, no postage, no cost. So there are options in our community to already get these items. And as far as the stigma, I don't understand what the stigma would be as it was discussed last time, because I don't think there is a stigma for people who have a legitimate use for it. I think the stigma is coming from those who are needing these items because of illegal drug use. And if that's what we're accommodating, then to Mr. Doyle's point, we're not holding them accountable. We're enabling their continued drug use. So I am adamantly opposed to this vending machine being located at the library or anywhere else on city property. With that, I'll stop.
I would also like to make a comment. I've been going to the VOTEC in Afton for some classes, and on Monday week, on the way back, I stopped because I knew they had those machines there. It was broken, couldn't get anything. So they have them on both sides. So the next time I went, Tuesday, I stopped at both sides, and Thursday, and Saturday, and yesterday. Only one time was I able to even get anything out of those machines, and I couldn't even get it with the 74361 zip code. I had to use a 74362. The machines are brand new, and both of them. So even if the city was interested in doing that, which I agree with Charles, I do not think it's a good idea for liability on city property, as well as I don't think the library is the best choice. The machines themselves are not good, in my opinion.
Could we ask legal counsel if we would be held responsible or liable or anything like that if this machine was on city property?
Yes would be the answer. The memorandum of understanding, they did give me the updated one. It does change what she was discussing last time. It is still a memorandum of understanding. It's not an enforceable contract, so it doesn't absolve any liability. What damages are, I couldn't tell you that, but as far as just being found liable, we would be responsible for the machine, and if anything came out of it. They may also be, but we would be as well.
What would we be responsible for anything about the things that are in it?
Sort of is the answer. So under their memorandum of understanding, they're the ones who are going to be stocking it. But again, it's a memorandum of understanding. It's not an indemnification agreement. It's not, if someone sued us, we can't say, well, we have a memorandum of understanding that they're doing it, because this document or agreement with the Mental Health Association is not an enforceable document.
So we need a contract.
Yes. In my opinion, to absolve liability, I think you need an indemnification contract. I've reached out to their general counsel, I believe is who I talked to, definitely somebody with authority, and I don't think that's on the table for them at this point.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I think the idea of these machines are probably a very good thing. I foresee that they are there to help save lives, to help people out. I too have concerns about the library, but I would like to throw out a compromise that if we were to place it on city property, I'm not saying that that's going to go over either, but if we were to put it on city property, why not at the front of City Hall, which has a cover over it too, just like the library? But on the flip side of that too, the gentleman that spoke to us brought up a point about maybe having it at a recovery type center. Is that right? And I know that we talked at the last meeting about how we can't coerce or talk to private. It was mentioned about convenience stores, et cetera. That's their private business, right, and we have no say-so on that. But to kind of go with what the gentleman mentioned to us before, and I see that there's a representative here of one of this type facilities that has been put in to help, and I'm gonna put you on the spot, sorry. That facility was put in to help with the homeless situation, and you know, some of these people are in that type of situation, and there's a lot of calling for people to go up there. So I was gonna ask if that's something that you all would be considering, or could consider putting it up there if the city did not do it.
Again, I would be concerned about the liability. That's your guys' concern, so I would have that same concern. I don't know enough about it
Okay.
to be able to answer the question. So if I had to answer right
Okay.
now, the answer would be no.
Okay. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up, just for clarification, and the gentleman brought this up too, on the link on that Living in Pryor Creek Facebook page that Carrie had put on there of where these machines are located at, that is a map that's on there, and you have to enlarge that map to uncover all those little pegs of where they are. And on all those locations of police stations, there's multiple police stations, sheriff's offices, etc. But those are not the Narcon machines. Those are safe drop-off places to where you can put your prescription drugs in to get rid of them. And the Pryor Police Department does have that, and the sheriff's office does. You got to enlarge that map and look at the color-coded pegs or dots on there, more or less. There are only a few, like the lady from the health department said, there's only about 30 of them in place so far around the state of Oklahoma. And they're on the turnpikes, et cetera. So that's what that map shows, is to where you got to look at the color code for the machines versus the safe drop box mailboxes to put your prescription drugs in to get rid of them safely. And then the OBNDD comes and picks all those up at a certain time of the year, et cetera, on that. So just to clarify that, they're not at police stations, but in that sense, but.
So you don't believe there's going to be a contract per se at this time?
The current discussions appear they are not willing to do an indemnification agreement.
Okay. Any further?
Is there anywhere else that, until November the 1st, that you were able to get, I guess though that, Councilman Trimble said that he
Where did
got
you say
his
you got yours?
online.
Oklahoma Department of Mental Health website.
Okay,
You can get them
You
right
did?
outside
You did?
Adair.
Do what? I'm sorry.
You can also get them right out on the north side of Adair at whatever that thing is called. That's where you got yours, right?
No, I got mine on the turnpike,
The turnpike?
yeah.
We had to use the 743.
But I probably tried 10 or 12 times because I wanted to get a fentanyl strip, because I was gonna bring them both to be able to show and discuss. I personally do wanna have one. And I did go through the little training, not the one that we had here, but there are training videos out just to know. And they're not hard to use. Only problem I have with some of the training videos is they don't let you know that some of these people, when they come off of drugs, can be violent. And that's one of the reasons I'm concerned about liability, because you'll have a person fully intending on helping somebody, and so they try and save a life. The person coming off the drugs goes nuts and hurts or kills the person saving their life because they're freaked out of their mind. And somebody sues because their loved one got hurt or killed because they didn't know the dangers involved. And it could happen. And I'm not against them, just not on city property, and I want people to be properly trained on, because they're not gonna save everybody under every circumstance.
Back to Choi's point, yes, they are available to anyone in the state of Oklahoma online.
If you have internet access.
The library has internet access.
And I'm not opposed to them going to the library.
but you have to have an address too, don't you? That's another problem. If you don't have an address, then where are they gonna send it?
There's currently not one of these machines in Mays County at all. Like the lady from the mental health department had said, there's just around 30 around the whole state. They would probably like to get more. And I don't see anything wrong at all with having the machines. And Mays County does need one. But I'm not necessarily opposed to it being on city property, just not at the library.
Mr. Mayor, just a little short statement.
Yeah.
I have no problem with the machines. The library was picked as they would feel like a safe place, not intimidated. There's 9 cameras looking at that particular place.
At the library?
Yes, when they find out.
Counted them, huh?
Yeah.
I did.
When they find out those cameras there, you couldn't give one of them away.
And one of them's right where the machine would be. It's like right there, so If they want to be anonymous, it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be hard to be anonymous.
The second point is, if this is Oklahoma Department of Mental Health's idea, the simplest thing would be put it to Health Department.
Bingo.
People wouldn't think that that would be a place that would bother you.
Sure.
I just don't want it at the library.
So, collecting the thoughts here, more than none would say not on city property, but all would say not opposed to.
Not opposed to it at all.
Repair and maintenance is not prompt on them, right? Would you say? If it's been reported, if that repair has been reported. So I think it would be something that we could continue to put some thought into on where, location, in terms of, but.
Had you rather change it to no action?
No.
No,
Well, if we do a no action, then it's a moot point, we can bring it back later. If we say no, then I don't have the approval to sign the MOU on that, saying that.
Yeah, quite frankly, a no vote, if it turns out to be a no vote, I think that would send a very clear message to the health, or to Oklahoma Department of Mental Health, that we're serious about indemnification here. Quit playing games with us, get on board with us. If you truly want to partner, then, show up to the game.
and I would agree with that statement.
Is there anybody here from the mental health department? Okay.
All right. Do we have any further discussion, any further thought? If not, we'll call for the vote.
Could you clarify, this, a no vote means no?
No vote means I'm not signing an MOU tonight.
Nance,
No.
Malheur,
No.
Trammell,
No.
Gantier,
No.
Smith,
No.
Flomar,
No.
Shropshire.
No.
Okay. Item H, approve an expenditure in the amount of $4,994.66 to Infrastructure Solutions for PRY 220702 for updated wall maps for City Hall. $2,500 to be paid from P&Z miscellaneous mapping account 02-205-5077, and $24.94 to be paid from general outside services other account 02-201-5075. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Oh, I have a motion from Choya. Is that a second?
I'll second.
Second from Charles Trammell. Discussion?
Yeah, I asked for this to be pulled because I have a question. These are for the maps right out here in the
Correct.
city clerk's office.
The clerk's office and in the conference room, the pull-down vinyl maps.
These are used to show current cities' boundaries, et cetera.
Boundaries.
Zoning.
So my question is, has there been any rezoning or any annexations since the last maps that would require revised maps?
Yes, there have been. I think the new one includes the
maps have already been updated.
the addition up north, the annexations to the south.
To show new annexations and zone, okay. So,
And I don't know if you saw the other ones were kind of, they were a little tricky at times to pull down. There was some duct tape. And so this brought them up, and the question was, while we're doing this, should we just go ahead and fix the fixturing? And I said, let's get it done. Yes, so.
I also did a little checking on this, and if our maps aren't accurate, and we don't maintain them every year, update them, it could put us in a situation of liability if
well, that was
people-
kind of my point.
So, they have to
Yeah,
be updated.
we absolutely try to stay on that. So. Further discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Malheur,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes,
Smith,
Yes.
Flomar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance.
Yes.
Item K, approve signing a contract with Independent School District Number 1, Pryor Public Schools, for the furnishing of school resource officers to school district campuses. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion from Gantier,
Second.
second from Nance. Discussion.
Yes, sir, I would like, before we consider this, on section 14, a slight verbiage addition. I was speaking with the attorney on this to make it a little more broad so that we cover everything. It reads, "This contract shall replace the provisions related to school resource officers and all other existing agreements between the parties," which means it only applies to that part that's school resource officers. One of our contracts has some other things with it. That would not be part of this. I would like to add the words, and say, "in all other prior or existing agreements between the parties," in case we got any kind of weird contract floating around, just to kind of make sure that the intent of this document is met. And I asked the attorney, and he says that that might help shore it up a little bit.
Yeah, I have no problem with that edit at all.
Okay.
There's also, Mr. Gantier found this, I'll give him credit for it. In paragraph 7, there's a typo, 4 needs to be changed to 5.
And I believe you've already done that, it's just we didn't have it in our
Yes.
copy.
And the school's aware of
Which
that.
page is that on?
It's paragraph 7.
Do we know how much these SROs cost in total? And I'm
So-
talking salaries, benefits, equipment, overtime. Do we have a way of capturing that?
Coming up here, chief.
Okay, so, these are the current salaries of some of the employees, because they don't all start out, at range whatever, step 1. Salary only, which I believe is what
This contract refers to.
correct. One is $47,868, $43,175, $57,278, $53,175, $45,303. That's
What
the
does that add
employee's
up to?
salary. I'm sorry,
Did you get a
What does that
total?
add up to?
I didn't do that.
So
And on the I mean, you gotta figure the school's 9 months of the year. It's not, we have it for 12 months. It's a 9-month contract with the school as far as, that's how long they're gonna be in the school.
So I think it would behoove us to pause for a moment while she's adding that up and explain kind of what has happened with, look at Chase over there with the big calculator. So what has happened is that we have several contracts through the years that have been, began with contract, the 17th day of June, 2008. And that one, stated that the school would provide, one resource officer for the sum of $20,000 as partial reimbursement for that officer. But also on that contract, it stated that they would have use and access to some of our facilities, such as the Legion ball fields, tennis courts, one golf tournament for the girls, golf tournament for the boys, et cetera. That was the original old agreement. And so what we've done is in conjunction with, that's the word we're going to use, in conjunction with Pryor Public Schools and the superintendent directly, we have combined that contract, the 2016 contract, the 2017 contract, the 2018 contract, the 2019 contract. They all increment up by one officer every year. So to where we're ultimately now at the last contract from last year that had 4 officers, the conversation was, why are we providing 5? So the idea is that the current contract, which is separate from the 2008 contract, this says 4 plus 1. So when we went to the school, and it was actually our error, we put in that the school will reimburse us $240,000, and the school came back and said, no, get your, I think she used the term, get your figures correct. And they said, we still owe you the $20,000 from the other contract, so it's $260,000 that the school will provide. So they asked that all those contracts be melded into one contract, not to negate the agreement that we have with them on use of our facilities. So the idea there is that we'll be getting $260,000 from the Pryor Public Schools for 5 officers. Divide that out, do the math, it's about $52,000 that we're paying for those they're paying those officers for a 9-month contract. And you heard the numbers that Courtney just read. The school is beyond properly compensating us for the use of those officers. And since those are salaries, there are other assignments and duties that are included in the contract. There's a whole list of things that the expectation of those officers is to do. So It's not like they're just standing in the lunch line watching kids. They actually are expected to do certain things. And so this is all about combining those contracts to have a good contract. The school is on board. We'll let her know about this modification first thing in the morning. I'm sure they'll be okay. She'll take it back to her board for approval, and we should all be good.
So what did that work out to?
So salary only is $246,799.
This is per year for a 12-month period.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
12 months.
So then they are above what the
Oh,
salaries
by
would be.
far, by far.
Okay,
So,
that's what we needed to,
so we just, here's the thing though, we need to get this,
Do you know how much, I'm sorry.
go ahead, no, you're
Do you know how much overtime, Jeremy, we pay these five?
Most of the time, not much. I know, are you talking about the SROs? They don't get much with the ball games, you know, that's changed a little bit with the higher security that we've had out, because we've had them out, that's 4 games this year. We've talked about the school, like the basketball games, it won't be that much.
Are you doing that as special overtime too?
Yes.
Is that a separate line item? for overtime?
No, it'll be just regular overtime. So from 160 to 171 is straight pay. So I don't know the figures on that. I have to sit down and look at them, how much they actually got the last game, and figure out those. Most of the time it's, you know, ball games will be their only overtime. And they can comp it off with, you know, a holiday built in or whatever the school's out. They can take their time off usually.
You know,
Are they paid overtime in money or in just time off?
Well, I mean, if it's over the 160 and we don't get them off for the 28-day cycle, they get paid money. But, I mean, if the school's out a day and they want to take off, I mean, we can do it that way too. So it just kind of depends on when the overtime falls.
and some of them like to do that.
Correct.
You know, they're not all about having it on the paycheck, but.
Like I said, we've got 4 home games this year. That'll be the biggest hit on the overtime on the SROs.
How many officers are attending the home games?
I think we had 10 of us the last one. Those, the SROs, which is 5, Bike Patrol, which is 3, and then a couple others, of course, myself too.
I'm not opposed to giving, in any way opposed to giving these, you know, these SROs to support the Pryor Public Schools. I just want to make sure we're capturing all of the costs so we can better negotiate with Pryor Public Schools. Pryor is one of the richest school districts in the state.
For sure.
They can afford to fully compensate or reimburse Pryor, the city of Pryor, for the SROs. That's what I'm looking for here. Is there a mechanism where we can start tracking every single cost associated with these SROs? And I'm talking the maintenance on the vehicles they're using, their overtime, their salaries, breaking out their benefits, you name it. If they sneeze and use a Kleenex, how much does that Kleenex cost in the city? You know, that's.
If you would like that, I will personally go find that out for you. I'm just kidding.
Will
I have all-
will you do me a
I was like,
favor and
really?
bring him the Kleenex?
So, and on
Hey,
this, now,
here you go,
Here's the one.
on me.
I mean, with them having a board, and us having a board, there's a negotiation process. Their physical year runs like ours, you know, does as well. And I've had that conversation with the superintendent. I mean, I don't think that's, you know, nothing opposed, but I think there's time for that, you know, as well as sitting down, getting figures and working together.
Right.
Because they're a good partner.
They are,
always have been.
they've been very cooperative. In fact,
Well, they tried to give us more money in this than we were actually trying to get.
right, I mean, that's what I'm getting ready to say. I
And
mean,
again, I'm not pushing back on this relationship we have with them. I would just like the city of Pryor to do a better job of capturing total costs
So
for next year when we sit
what that
down.
would involve, and that's not a problem, Courtney will do that for you. But I think, keep in mind, as we look at this, you have to keep in mind the range that the officer is at
Right,
versus
I
the
get that.
salary. You're gonna have overages, you're gonna have, you know, a couple $1,000, $10,000, whatever it works out for that officer. They're all gonna be different, so we're really, in essence, gonna be looking at averages on what the program is. We can come up with any collection of funds, numbers that you wanna get, we can do that. What we're looking at tonight is, we're looking to get a vote, either way, whether this contract can be sent back to the school saying that the city is on board with the contract, the way it's worded. Hopefully, everybody got a chance to read all the way through the new consolidated contract. Keep in mind in there, it also does say that we have the right to pull those officers for emergencies if we need to. without prior notice. If we have something go on in part of town and Jeremy needs to pull an officer, he has every right to do that. It's a very good contract, I feel. And I think, you know, if you look at the.
We can look at the salary benefits. I mean, this, a 12-month period is gonna be obviously higher. We need to break it down to 9 months, so it's.
I prorated it. It came out to about 185 over the 9 month.
So just, you know, getting figures and then, you know, work with their board.
Mr. Mayor, just for a point of clarification, and we may or may not need an opinion from the city attorney, the 2008 contract that's still in force, as far as I know, it's never been changed or
Correct.
anything. That, unless we sign this agreement here, that will remain in effect. We cannot cancel that till the end of the school year, the way the contract's written. So we're stuck with that unless we go here and combine it here. So this is the only way we could even change that one.
So help me to follow. You're saying that you feel that the 2008 contract is.
We can change it if we both parties agree to this one, but if we decide not to do this, we can't just drop that one because
Right, because that one's automatically renewed.
automatically renewed and we
The-
can't change it until 30 days before. Is it July
The
1st?
verbiage in this one as well, the new one, is also that it can be auto-renewed.
It can be
Both
auto-renewed?
parties have the right to sever from that.
Right.
And so that was something that we made sure was in there. So the biggest reason, the biggest area of confusion, I think, is that the 2008 contract has the verbiage about the facilities. And the school wants to continue that. The new contract is written so that it doesn't negate that portion of that agreement.
Especially section.
All the
14.
other elements of that 2008 agreement have been melded into the 2023-2024. And then the little verbiage adjustment that we can add on there, that's no big deal.
Yeah, and that's in 14, because
Sure.
it says that this is only applying to the school resource officer. It will not affect those other things that were mentioned.
Correct.
And I just wanted to bring that so everybody's clear.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I may. I have no problem with the SRO officers. The problem I have is with the money. The school system has a far more money than the city of Pryor does. And if we've got 4 officers at 60,000, why isn't the 5th one worth 60,000? That's not much to ask. And we're paying more of it with all the benefits and the overtime.
So I wasn't a part of the original negotiation, so I can't say that, you know, when the school said we're gonna provide 240,000 and it is strictly for salary. I don't know that that's what it was. I think it went into, in a conversation I had with, Mr. Raleigh, previous superintendent, about something that was, do you remember this, about the request that I had for the school to do with the signs and the meetings? You wrote about it in paper, and Mr. Raleigh came and wanted to know, his comment was, well, then I'll take my stencils and I'll paint, paid for by Pryor Public Schools, on the back of the police cars that we funded. So I think part of that money goes for, like Mr. Trammell was saying, supplies, needs, other things to provide cars. We've discussed with the school, could they help us with vehicles? You know, that's a need we have. I can clearly say there was no opposition to it, but the school, like us, runs on a budget. It's not our say what that budget is used for, or how much they have determines how much they can pay. They also have very large bond payments that they have to make right now. And that was something that, you know, we would definitely want to respect the bills that they have as well. And so, you know, it wasn't, safe to say, it wasn't off the table.
No, it wasn't. She wasn't opposed.
But for this year, it's not on the table.
They had large bond payments this year coming up. So, and they do pay training, you know, if we have trainings or something, they pay a DARE fund like 10 grand into the fund to pay for the DARE supplies. They do pay other besides outside the contract.
Sure. So, you know, the school is really doing us a favor. The frightening part about this is if this agreement with the school were to go away, the council would be challenged with, as well as me, finding a little over $250,000 in budget to keep those officers employed.
I'm afraid we may be challenged later this year anyway, but my whole point was if 4 of the officers are worth 60, the 5th is worth 60. unless they've hired a subordinate officer, I think you'd be a good one, but I think the audit ought to be 60,000. And I think we ought to offer them, instead of just saying, here's the contract, accept it or deny it, go back to the budget committee, negotiate it, and come up with a better deal. They've got the money, we don't have the money.
As far as their salaries go, we have to go off our pay plan.
Do what now?
We have to go off of our pay plan for their salaries.
And the county pays 40-something thousand for SROs. We looked into that, so they're only getting 40-something for their SROs into the county schools.
Not our SROs.
Correct. The
clearly.
county has SROs throughout Madison
Locust.
County. Locust, Salina, Shoto, or not Salina, but Shoto. There's like 5 of them, but they get like 40-something. And I think the talk can be there in the fiscal year when it's coming up with new,
So
budget.
we have to look at the SRO funding as funding a program, not necessarily funding a salary. What they're saying is, we'll contribute to the salaries. What Courtney's saying is, we still have to adhere to our steps and ranges. If you're a step 1, range 1, whatever officer, you're what, like 38,000?
And if you break it between the 5, how much was it, like 53,000?
Yeah, it's like 52 and a half.
So, I mean, if you just add it across the 5, that's
So for the officers like, that have been here longer, like Officer Jenkins at Roosevelt, he's been here longer than Officer Flood at the middle school. And so, there's gonna be some balance back and forth. That's up to, Jeremy and his payroll to figure that out. The money can go for that program, is really how that works.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
just like with any governing body, we're discussing this because we're a party to this contract. The school board also probably discussed this at their board meeting too.
Yep.
And we currently have a school board member present in the audience, so would you like to have anything to add to this?
I don't think so. Mr. Mayor, my
opinion's already been expressed to all these people and to you. It came through the email. We need these people.
Mr. Mayor, I talked to the chief of police of Bonita. He said the city of Bonita and the city of Miami is going for a federal cop grant that could provide the whole police department for the school. They'd have their own police department. Well, I don't think we want that. But what I'm saying is, we can get a better deal out of this. They have more money to work with than what we've got. And it's not the safety, it's not the officers, it's the money.
So in that comment, and I don't want to get too far into the left field, I want us to remember, the presentation from MUB. We hear all the time how much money MUB has, and as they went through, Jared was very clear that, yes, we may have 22 million sitting over here, but that 22 million is for a water tower, or it's for this, it's for supplies, it's for payroll, it's for the backhoes, the track hose, it's for the guys, that money is allocated. When you look at that sum that they have, and what they give to the city and the generosity there and the agreements that we have, as you look at that, you find that MUB really doesn't have this bank of, we're just sitting on cash and going. And I think you're gonna find that the school, I think it would be safe for us to say that the school's funds are the school's business. Our business with the school is, do we want to go into this contract with them? Do we feel that the SROs are compensated properly? And ultimately, my point is that, I'm sorry, but our future is in those buildings. Our future are those little children. Our future are the kids and families at the football games, the basketball games, the soccer games, the wrestling matches, the volleyball tournaments. Oh my gosh, let's go on and on. But the idea is, I can't personally put a price on the protection of a family. Individuals in Choctaw, Oklahoma, went to a football game with peace of mind, and they didn't all go home. Are we gonna argue dollars and cents when we know that we're properly compensated? And I think the idea is we need to get through this so that the school can get through. If we're gonna go through with it, we won't see a penny till we approve it. That's $250,000 plus.
I do have a quick question.
Yep.
And I discussed this with the mayor, but I just would like to bring it up. On paragraph 4, for those of you that it says the city will provide uniforms for the 5 officers and sufficient police cars and equipment and will maintain and operate such vehicles and equipment at its expense. Does our police chief get to determine what's sufficient, or do they tell us what's sufficient as far as how many cars and things? I know we need some cars at some of the locations. I know we probably don't need our greatest and latest there because they're not driving and patrolling. But at the same time, I just want to give you an opportunity to speak on that, please, sir.
Their uniforms are built in the contract, as far as the money, the way it's allocated, goes to their salary, and then, like I said, the school gives us some of for their training or their, DARE stuff, things like that. But as far as the equipment on the cars, it comes out of our equipment budget on general fund, 2 and 5. The cars they have though, you couldn't put on patrol, most of them.
Okay.
They would die. The cars would. The SROs drive them from their house to the school, park them, usually back, and then or to the game. That's it. They're not, you put them out on patrol, they're old.
So it's really, the cars being there is not adversely affecting our
It's not hurting us.
patrol abilities.
No, and if you remember, sorry, I'll jump in because it just dawned on me. I think as you go back to probably June, we had the discussion about the cars that needed equipment and things, the ones that were higher mileage, a little less healthy. We had talked about giving some of those to the SROs since they weren't going to be.
They're not pursuit vehicles.
Well, they were in their prime.
And like I said, in the future, I think there's room for negotiation with the school. I think there's a time and place for it also,
Which is back to my point, Jeremy. I think we're at the perfect time, the month of September, to start tracking how much we're actually spending here. That's going to put us in a better position next year to sit down and have very effective negotiations with Pryor. That's all I'm asking. I do have 2 other quick questions for you. Are all 5 already hired?
Yes.
Or they're already on board?
The one's in FTO right now, the new hire. That was the one for the vacancy of Assistant Chief Couch.
Got it.
So she's in full training.
And my other question, this is kind of just more of a clarification, if you could explain it. Paragraph 8, school district additional personnel. In addition to the personnel to be provided by the city, school district at its option shall have the right to engage personnel to provide watchman duties, including watchman duties provided through a private security company. What does that mean? Are they going to be hiring additional people?
They're not, I don't believe they're planning on it, but they're allowed to do that.
So if they want to go out and hire G-Force to come up, then they have the right to do that.
But even if they do that, that doesn't change what they pay us. So
That would be more for night watchmen, right?
Correct.
In the schools?
Whatever they feel the need.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're using watchmen instead of security guard.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
That's what it is.
a good question. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
One more comment and I'll shut up.
You're good,
For
Bruce.
right now.
For right now, you're good.
This is nothing more than a negotiation between 2 parties, and I think everybody at this table should be on the side of the city. The school's got their own negotiations. And that's the question I brought up, is getting more money to make it easier for us. That was my only problem. It's not the officers, it's just a better pay.
Okay. Thank you. All right, further discussion? All right, let's call for the vote.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
No.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes?
Nance,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Thank you. That was a good discussion. I appreciate that. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Courtney. Let's go ahead and jump to the addendum, if we can, before we start on the,
Give me a minute to pull up on my phone because I don't have a printed copy.
I got it right here.
Oh, you got one? Okay, thank you.
got one.
I didn't bring the packet. 500 pages.
Chase, I'm gonna step out. Mr. Lamar's gonna take care of the addendum.
I mean, I read it, I just didn't.
Terry, it's all you.
Thank you. On the council addendum, we're going to take care of hotel motel tax business. And I know, before we get started though, is anybody in the audience that's here representing any of these agencies that's on the agenda tonight? Arts and Humanities Council and the Oklahoma Freedom Flight Group. And the schools, are you representing the schools, Nettie, on this? Okay. Main Street, okay, y'all are here, okay. First item is discuss and possible action to approve the hotel motel final expense report for Pryor Public Schools for 2022-23 year.
So move.
Second. Oh, he's got a second.
You got it.
So the motion was from Gantier and Choya. Okay, any discussion? Okay, call for the vote, please.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Okay, item passes. Number 2, discussion and possible action to approve hotel motel final expense report for Pryor Main Street for 2022-23.
So move.
Gantier
Second.
and Nance. Any discussion? Okay, call for the vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Okay, item number 3. Is that right, number 3? Okay, discussion possible approve hotel motel final expense report for the Pryor Area Chamber of Commerce for 2022-23.
So move.
Okay,
Second.
Gantier and Choya. Okay, discussion? Call for the vote?
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Okay, number 4, a discussion and possible action regarding the hotel motel grant application from the Pryor area. Now, we're moving on from the expense reports to the grant applications for the Pryor Area Arts and Humanities Council for the Northeast Oklahoma Area Artist Show that was held March 24th to April 1st, 2023, in an amount of $2,000. And
So move.
Second.
Gantier and Nance. And if I remember correctly, this was recommended and approved at the Hotel Motel Tax Board the other night. Any
Yeah.
discussion?
I'd like to make a comment on that. They had a pretty good art show, in my opinion. They had a lot of stuff in it. I went and looked at it, so I think a lot of local talent was displayed at that, so that was just a comment.
They've been doing this for several years, and it's a very good thing that they do.
I mean, they had a lot of stuff, a lot of art,
Lot of
shoved in a
talent.
small space.
Yes. Call for the vote?
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes. Okay, number 5, discussion and possible action on the hotel motel final expense report for the arts and we just did that one, didn't we? Discussion number 6, discussion and possible action regarding the hotel motel grant application for the Oklahoma Freedom Flight for the Extravaganza 2 that was held August 5th, 2023 in the amount of $5,000.
Motion, second.
Okay.
We skipped 5.
You skipped number
We skipped 5.
So the first, number 4 is a grant application, but number 5 is the expense. report.
Okay, we'll go back to that one.
Okay.
On number 6, who made the motion?
I did.
Choya
And I
and
second it.
Gantier. Okay, any discussion? If you all recall, this was the big show that's done annually out at the fairgrounds, and it's a big hit, and it brings in a lot of folks into town for that. Okay, call for the vote.
Nance,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire.
Yes.
Now, number 5.
And then number 5 is the discussion and possible action to approve the hotel motel final expense report for the Arts and Humanities Council for the amount of $2,000.
So move.
Second.
Choya,
Oh, Gantier.
I'm sorry, Gantier and Nance. Call for the vote?
Malure,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance.
Yes.
And then finally, item number 7, the discussion possible action to approve the hotel motel final expense report for the Oklahoma Freedom Flight for the Extrava Slamza 2 that was held August 5th in the amount of $5,000.
So move.
Gantier makes the motion and seconded
I'll do it.
by Choya. Call for the vote.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Malheur.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Before we go back into the mayor's report on the regular meeting, let's take a 5-minute break. Gonna be back in at 7 o'clock.
Good job.
That's 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Can't trust that.
But we're ready to start.
Thanks, Dad. Yeah, appreciate that, Dad.
It's 7 o'clock, we're gonna restart the meeting.
I got a little canoe to go in. Do what? No, it's not a canoe. It's inappropriate.
That was good.
Okay.
All right. Everybody ready? Thank you, Mr. Lamar, for handling that. I appreciate it. We will continue on item 4, Mayor's Report. Discussion and possible action to approve the Pryor Creek Police Department to purchase the annual badge, police RMS base system, annual software license, and customer support renewal package from Cardinal Tracking in the amount of $3,437.55. This will be paid out of the Police Capital Outlay Account 44445-5424. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Motion from Gantier.
Second.
Second from Malure. Discussion. This was specifically put into their capital as a budgeted item in that account. Further discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Trammell.
Yes.
Okay. Item B in your packets is the presentation for item B. Discussion and possible action regarding entering into an agreement with Agriland FS to place fuel tanks at the Emergency Service Center. This agreement would also allow us to purchase a special meter to track and log fuel usage by individuals and departments. Agriland would install one 1,000-gallon diesel tank and one 2,000-gallon unleaded tank and possibly one premium tank. All tanks would be included at no cost. Proposal to break down cost and savings is included. Do I have a motion for
So
discussion?
move.
Okay, motion from Gantier, second from Choya. I have invited Mr. Benny on up, Benny Long from Agri-Land. As we go into this presentation, I want to be perfectly clear about a provision that we have come up with that's going to put a kink in this program. And I think most of you are aware that the situation with fuel tanks at the fire department has been a headache for what, now about a year? You can guesstimate.
February 16, 2021.
Okay. So,
Pretty good guess.
when we built the fire station, and Mr. Long is aware of this situation as well, and I still want him to give his presentation because we'll get there. The UL rating is the problem. When the architect built our building, he gave us a fuel tank that was rated UL 142, and the fire marshal, Terry Whiteley, correct, said that we needed a UL rating of 2048? 2085, I'm sorry, 2085, which is a tank that is double-walled, and in between those double walls is a thin layer of a concrete-like material, added layer of protection should it be impacted or shot, being that it's in an emergency services building, or across the street from the middle school, however you want to say that. But the idea is that the fire marshal wrote that down as a requirement for that facility. Thus, that's law. That's how it goes. And so as we got into this agreement and we found that this potential for these tanks and this program with Agriland would be a great savings, tremendous savings to us. The program they offer is great. You all have had plenty of time to hear about that. In consultation with Mr. McBride, accepting that, knowing that that's not good, would actually be criminal. So we're not going to be able to accept that. I mean, you have your free will, do your thing, but I'm going to suggest that we don't do that. We don't go against the fire marshal. The discussion was we could appeal it or not, but ultimately right now that's not going to work for that facility because we've been told that for that facility we have to have such a rating.
Can I ask a question?
Who's first?
Me.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Does it have to be at the fire station?
That
We'll
was my
get there.
question too.
We'll get there. So, my thought is that as we go forward, I'd like to be able to continue the conversations with Mr. Long. I've already expressed to many of you that as we go forward, as this program the item specifically tonight is about the Emergency Service Center. The discussion is about the program. So going forward, we might see on another, on the next agenda to place these Agrelin tanks at the park, or the parks building, the cemetery, the street, et cetera. MUB uses you guys and has these very 142 tanks on their facility at their warehouse. They've got 2 of them, I believe, right?
They own theirs.
So, of course they do. So, we love you, Jared. The idea is that we need to have the discussion about what the program is, and so I've invited Benny to give that presentation to us. So if you guys are okay, I'll yield the floor to.
Thank you. So when I went over the proposal, I proposed the type of tanks that we had discussed, which was the UL 142, which we have in stock. I could have everything set up in 7 days. The expense is a lot less for us on our end with the tanks that we already have, of course. If we bump it up to the 2085, my expense goes from the 42,000 to about 60,000 total. The availability was another concern. I got on the phone this week. I can have one here probably within 2 weeks, so it's not an issue anymore. We're still willing to provide the 2085 tanks if that's what's required. The dimensions are going to be a little bit wider in circumference than the original tanks I had talked about, but the length is what was worrying me. It was, we only have a limited amount of space there. They will fit. So there is no issue. We'll provide the required tanks. My expense is a little more. They're a lot heavier, a lot harder to deal with, but we're going to make it happen.
Okay.
So that's what it takes.
You okay with that?
Yeah, and the whole thing with, when we have a consultant or whoever review building plans, if what they say, that's how they interpret the IFC or the building code, and as far as I'm concerned, that's what we stick to, so it's got nothing to do with this or that or who's got what, but when that building plan review comes back, whoever did that plan review, that's how they interpreted the codes for that time, and that's what we're going to enforce or stand by.
I actually asked the same questions to the tank supplier, and they said it's very common for this type of facility to require that, so it's not anything out of the ordinary.
Thank you. Now, just for the record, I did ask, what was it, just the other day, I asked you some additional questions online, I believe, right? Reached out to you again, tail end of last week. We had talked a little bit in email back and forth about these tanks, so.
So, Mr. Mayor, for point of clarification, everything in this agenda item is the same except for we would be putting the code appropriate tanks in,
Yes, sir.
but nothing else would change?
Correct.
Okay. And we are talking, from what I understand, about 2, a diesel and a but not the premium tank. Yeah, the
So
regular.
we would just need the diesel and a regular. Okay. And that diesel is a red diesel, correct? Does that cause you a problem?
Yeah, I'll throw another deal at it. The red diesel, we have to run clear diesel when our new trucks are under warranty, because it just gives everybody that just built you a $700,000 fire engine to say, hey, you ran dyed diesel through it. That buoys it, because they'll say in their deal for their warranty, they want clear diesel ran through. So our tanks now at Station 2, we've always ran clear diesel through.
Can we get the clear diesel?
You can. The only problem is, a lot of reasons why people don't want to do the clear diesel is because you have to pay taxes on it. That falls back on us. We apply and get reimbursed, it's just kind of a pain. But we'll do that. You're tax exempt, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, continue on.
The only other thing that was talked about was the Fluid Secure program, where you can actually track the fuel usage, unlimited units, unlimited personnel. The only thing that it requires would be us to provide the unit. It's $700 for the setup. And then the city would be responsible for a $480 expense per year for the information that goes into it. It's yours.
So how does this system activated? How do you initiate the fuel process?
So it's all, if you look at that picture I provided of it, there's a setup in there. It looks similar to an iPad.
Okay,
They just go in there and put in the information that's required, and that, we'll go over that when we set it up. You want the unit number, you want the employee number, I don't
Okay, so you don't have cards or keys or anything, you just,
Everything's-
it's all
everything's
touchpad?
put- Yeah.
Okay,
You
that's
can
good.
also do it from a cell phone.
Okay.
And that
Another-
1 meter will run multiple tanks, correct?
Yes.
And another question, I mean, I'm sure our emergency service vehicle, building, they have backup generators, et cetera. So they would be able to continue to pump fuel if we lost power.
Yes, you just.
And to
trap
me, that's something that I think is very strong. We don't want an emergency or a disaster and our units not be able to get their required fuel. That would be really a bad thing. So that's
Yeah.
something I think we ought to.
And that was something we had talked about initially when we met, was that would not be an issue. And again, if that were some weird reason to cause a problem, we still have access to fuel via fuel cards if we needed to.
Yeah, but like if the
Right.
power goes down, gas stations are out. If we have our own, we have gas.
Right, scenarios.
Our emergency.
Our generators now at both stations. So, yeah, we're good. Our station 2 does it, and the way that was set up and wired in, it'll run off one of the generators.
Good.
And there's actually a fail-safe, so if that one goes down, they actually kind of start falling down to where we've got 3 generators now. If 2 of them went down, we'll still keep dispatch up, doors will be able to go up, and our fuel pumps will all work.
If that's the case, nothing will change on this.
Okay.
It'll be functional.
I really like the last page.
Exactly.
Economics.
So,
It's actually greater than that. Like I said, the tank expense goes up with the flame shield. And then also, just the cost savings. I just average 20 cents a gallon. Sometimes it's greater than that.
Yeah.
That's real good.
so some of the other concerns that we had addressed in our conversation were, say we have an event going on a Sunday and the tank is low, how do we get refueled? Would you care to explain how that program works and what you guys do and monitor?
So we provide satellite monitors. They're no cost to you. Basically, I can, at any time, look on my phone and see what your tank levels are. We set alerts, so if it gets down to a quarter of a tank, we all get an alert. We're gonna fill it the next day. So we should never run into that problem.
Good deal.
And you don't have to worry about somebody, one of your employees going out there and reading the meter or reading the gauges.
Where are your tankers dispatched from?
We have a yard out here just south of the Claremore Airport, between here and Claremore.
Okay.
That's our yard.
And you'd mentioned that the maintenance crew is local.
Yeah, there's actually 5 of us, I believe, that live here in town, that work for this company. The guy that maintains all of our pumps and everything, he lives right here in town.
Good deal.
So if there's ever an issue.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fringe benefit.
no comment. You know, as we went through, I love hearing that you can find that you can acquire those tanks for us. I think as we look at this, the cost savings is potential to be tremendous, as well as, you know, the management side of our field program is that we kind of get a little closer eye to what's going on, who's using what. For the clerk side of this, you see Courtney is all smiles. You know, for those, I'll get you in just a second. For those that have never been a part of collecting fuel receipts, which I have not, but I do get to sign and I see it. It's a thick stack, all the collected receipts. Takes Darla, 2 days, I think is what she said, she works on it. Nightmare. How is it invoiced? Just,
So you get 1 invoice per month,
so,
everything purchased that month.
correct.
Great.
Mr. Britton, did you have a question or comment or?
I just got a comment as a satisfied customer, because I use these guys on my farm, and they do a really good job. They take care of the tank, they take care of any mechanical issues, they deliver on time, they invoice well. Just want to throw in a good word for them. Not because it's Benny Long, but because it's everybody.
All right. Mr. Smith?
Mr. Mayor, not to stop anybody's heart, but this is one thing that I agree with you on. The only question I have, now I have questioned the police department about their, I don't know how many cars they have running premium fuel. I did see the book, it said premium fuel. Now, do we have that many cars to order the tank, or just the cars we use it to buy at the pump?
Chief, you want to comment on the premium? Because that was an issue we had during the hot days of the summer.
I gave a suggestion.
The heat was I think one of the factors on it, so how that cools down, we should be good. And we figured in that tank, 2,000 gallon tank, we're, 2 weeks, week and a half is what we'll go through in those units, kind of an average, but it'll definitely be a huge help for us, on our side. And if we got a car, we'll just play car by car basis, but if there is a car having an issue, we rely on the mechanic to tell us what they think. I'm not a mechanic, I don't know why it's doing it. But we, car by car basis, but the cooler weather will help.
So you can function without the other big tank? With what I'm asking, you just got a few cars that have to have premium?
Correct, yeah, we'll have the cars, still come and go cars.
Okay, but you go to the.
If we need to get there, we can.
Okay, all right.
I mean, we could probably use just some octane boost
And
probably.
we can try that too, and see if that works.
The idea wasn't it the larger vehicles with the EcoBoost was, and there were not very many, so they were stalling in the hotter weathers, not a stall, but a delay in acceleration, and so we've talked to mechanic, we've got some advice on that, and so going forward.
So Bruce, did I hear you correctly that you're gonna shut up now that you saw it said premium in the books and
Yep,
we're your happy camper now?
that's
Good.
right, we're happy.
Wow.
But I have one more question,
Sure.
and I hope this doesn't blow anything out of the water. Is there any problem with the bidding process, or how do we stay legally doing this? I'm all for it, but I don't wanna, do we have to bid it, or what's,
I don't believe so. If my understanding is this is a service.
we're good?
So I think,
We're not buying the tanks.
right.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So a lot of the elements of their agreement are specific to what they provide,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, I think this specifically, the way this contract is done, it gets you around the normal bidding.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
to clarify the motion and to clarify the item on the agenda, we are only going to do the diesel tank and the unleaded tank and not the premium tank, correct?
Correct. And
So
we
do
would-
those need to be amended
Yes,
to
we-
take off that and to include the language that they will provide the UL 2085 authorized tanks as far as the diesel and the unleaded tank goes?
Yes,
I believe I was the one that made the motion.
and for the, what do we call that, the module that,
The
the electronics?
FAs?
the fluid secure.
Yes,
I will amend my motion to reflect the removal of the premium tank, making sure that we have the proper rated tank, as well as the device to track the fuel usage.
The UL 2085 tank specifically.
Yes, putting that verbiage in is
Yes.
acceptable. I will amend my motion to reflect that.
do we want, not that we don't trust you, Benny, all night it's been about liability. BK, can you confirm that when they're in, that we're good? That we meet, just being that you are the fire chief? All right, do I have a second to that?
I think I second, yeah, I'll second, amend
You'll
my
second
motion.
what he says?
Yeah,
It was Choya.
never mind.
Or was it? All right, I'll second it.
I'll second it for Choya.
He'll second it. Good enough.
Chris, could you clarify your third place, what device? What was the third part of your amendment?
The fuel secure system?
What is the correct terminology for
Fluid
that?
secure.
Fluid secure.
Fluid secure.
Oh, fluid secure.
Place
Fluid?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And should we mention the price just since?
No.
No, okay.
I think we're good.
And we will maintain all of this stuff. If anything breaks, needs service, we'll take care of it, no charge. One thing I didn't talk about, the fuel coming straight from the refinery. We don't store it, there's no chance for cross-contamination, water, debris, anything like that. So it's coming straight to that tank. So, just another benefit.
And when can these be installed once we approve the,
I was gonna ask for 30 days, I don't think it'll take that long.
okay.
Fair enough.
That's perfect.
I'm content with, I don't think it needs to be in the motion, but
So no, I think we're good. Just for the public who doesn't have this, based on 100,000 gallon usage is what you had given us in this presentation. The total savings in a year would be equal to about 62,500. Over 5 years, roughly just under 150,000 in fuel savings. Yes, so,
And do we have, just one quick question for clarification, do we have to sign, is this agreement in effect for perpetually, or is it for a year at a time, or how does this work?
I did not provide any contract. I figured as long as I provide everything and you're buying fuel from us, that, you know, if at any time you want out, you just say, come get your tanks.
Okay.
so, if you're ready, call.
Is that acceptable to the city attorney to do it that way, or do we
Yeah,
have
if
to have a contract?
there's no written contract, I think you're good to cancel it at any time.
It's a service.
Thank you.
And he even put in his presentation, no binding contracts. So,
Okay.
as well as risk management options at no charge. Yeah. So,
That's something I did not talk about, discuss later with them, but, risk management, you know, you're gonna buy 100,000 gallons of fuel next year. There's a chance to buy it at a certain price, take a little bit of risk, but maybe you save a lot of money. You know, we do that, we do offer that.
Well, I would like to see that item on next agenda, perhaps to discuss that, because we can't discuss that now.
what item?
About buying it at a locked-in price.
Let me have that conversation with him before I
Sure.
commit to putting it
Sure.
on an agenda.
Sure.
So, did we hit everything on there?
Think so.
15 cents over verified costs, saving 20 cents per gallon versus the station. Further discussion? Lisa, call for the vote when you're ready.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Malheur,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Long. All right, item C, item D, and item E, we will have no action. Item F.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I could though, I would just like to say on my C that Chris did come up to stand up here and sit through it, even though he was kind of brief beforehand. So I just want to make a point to put that.
Come on up.
And he
Nothing
met us-
against everything, he understands what everything's going on, but he also chose to sit here till his name was called, so.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, and I just want to make sure everybody else did too.
Next time we'll have popcorn.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming.
Item F, discussion and possible action to approve Dale Burke with Infrastructure Solutions Group to begin seeking bids for the Salt Creek Project Phase 1.
So move.
Second.
A motion from Lamar, second from Malor. Discussion? I believe Phase 1 is, that's the west side of the highway, correct?
Well, I want to clarify that, because the original plan for this showed that as phase 2. And the city did complete phase 1 a few years ago. So if you need the plan, I can get it for you, but the phase 2 is the west side of the tracks.
Okay, so the west side of the tracks goes into, there's a couple of things we're waiting on, and so we have some options. I talked with Dale. Unfortunately, he was in McAllister later this afternoon and did not, I told him he'd be okay not to drive up here for that. The idea is that on the west side of the tracks, we're in the middle of waiting for a property purchase. That's in the middle of a transfer of property right now. The easements for that, as soon as that transfer, I believe it's the Colemans to the Larimores, as soon as that property transfer is done, Clay Larimore has already granted any easements that we need. The only request is that further down in the creek is where we've got some cars that were buried. If we move those cars out, we've altered the bank of the flow of the water, and so we can't do that. He also has asked that we preserve those vehicles where they're at. He doesn't want to move. So we're waiting on, for this one, we're just waiting on that property transfer to take place. We can go ahead and approve tonight for Dale to begin the bidding process on that when that is ready.
Okay.
And that way, as soon as it's done, he can get on with it. I'm concerned that as we wait and get further into winter, that ground is going to be a little more of a hassle.
Right.
So This one is to approve Dale to seek bidding with the contingency that as soon as that property transfer is done and he's got the green light, that he can begin the bidding process.
I would like to amend the motion since I made it to make that language phase 2, and I will send you the documentation on that when I get home tonight, that's
Okay.
what that phase 2 is.
So F will be phase 2. Do we have the second? That's you. Okay, Malor has agreed to change that. And we'll call that a little note that that's the west side of the tracks. Okay. Further discussion? If not, Lisa, call for the vote.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Malur,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
It's a lot of yeses in these last two. I'm getting excited. All right. Item G, discussion and possible action to approve Dale Burke with Infrastructure Solutions Group to begin seeking bids for the Salt Creek project. We are going to say phase 1. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Motion from Malor,
Second.
second from Gantier.
So that's phase 1.
Well, phase 1 was done a few years ago.
Okay.
So this
Is this the Nunley ditch that?
Yeah, so-
That was never part of the original, so,
was not, but it's on the prints, it's classified as.
yeah.
The idea is that we've been waiting for easement, the granting of easements. Those easements were granted the Monday. And so, not Monday, it was last week. I'm sorry. I thought it was later. I think it was Thursday that those were granted. And so they will be going in to kind of shore up some areas that are eroded between the Kernut and the Nunley properties to kind of direct the water to the south tributary of the Salt Creek branch, where now it's just kind of whirlpooling and washing away land. That project will also include, there's some larger trees that fell during the Father's Day storm that are within the easement of that property and that south tributary that we've agreed to go in and remove to allow the water to flow. And so now that we have the easements, that one's ready to go. So I need a motion and a second to approve Dale to do that.
So move.
Yeah, you had.
Did I?
Yeah,
Malur,
me and Gantier.
Malur and Gantier.
Okay, further discussion.
Can we call that 2.1?
We can call that whatever you want to, we just need to amend their motion.
Amend it to that, 2.1, Nunley.
I'm fine with that if it makes it easier to clarify.
Yep.
Okay,
So you want it to be 2.1 Nunley or just 2.1?
why don't we do 2.1 south tributary?
That'd be, yeah, that sound, South Tributary.
2.1 South Tributary?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm okay with that if that'll make it easier for you to.
Easy there, Bruce.
Somebody shot at me.
Missed.
Probably looking for beaver.
They missed.
The idea is that once these are done, we can tell Mr. Burke to go ahead and begin the bidding process for both of those. So further discussion on item G. If not, let's call for the vote.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Malur,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, item 5, city attorney's report.
Working on the DA annexation, still looks like there's not gonna be an issue, should have that done quickly, and the setback agreement, other than that, no report.
Committee reports, item 6, budget personnel,
10th of next month.
10th of next month. Ordinance and insurance,
Tuesday, 6 PM, I believe, because street and maintenance may have a meeting right before us.
That's 24th?
yep.
Okay.
Will that work? Street and maintenance?
Yeah, 5:30, yes.
I don't intend you have a long meeting that night, so.
Right.
Okay. All right. Item 7, any unforeseeable? We have none that I'm aware of. Do I have a motion for adjourn?
So move.
Motion from Gantier,
Second?
second from Nance. We're adjourned. Okay, let's call,
How about a vote?
no, I don't want to do that. I want this done. All right, call for the vote. Please, I'm sorry.
Nance,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Chitwood, no, not here. Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire.
Yes.
All right, we're adjourned from city council meeting. Let's call to order the Pryor Public Works Authority. Approve minutes of the September 5th, 2023 meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion from Choya,
Second.
second from Malure. Call for the vote.
Miller,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire.
Yes.
Item 3, there's no unforeseeable business. Before we adjourn, I just want to make mention that Lisa's done a fabulous job tonight.
Thank you.
In training. Give her a round of applause.
She'll be on her own next couple meetings, so please be nice to her.
The effects of some cross-training going on. I appreciate that. That's fabulous.
Good deal.
Item 4, do I have a motion for adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Motion from Nance and a second from Gantier. Whenever you're ready, call for the vote.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Muller.
Yes.
Okay, we're adjourned.